Albert AWOL, the voice of the jungle, broadcasting on the DVC to all points unknown. If you're within the sound of my voice, you're listening to Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Hello and welcome home. Thank you for joining us on episode 184 of Welcome Home, a Disney Parks and Vacation Club podcast. I'm Tom. I'm here with Trevor. Damon's going to be joining us at some point, hopefully.
Damon's being a dad, as usual.
Yeah, got swim stuff this weekend.
Yeah, so he'll come in at some point. We'll see.
I actually saw him on Friday night.
Yeah, I know. I saw you guys messaging back and forth on Facebook.
Yeah, except that I got in a car accident on the way there. But
oh no.
Yeah,
Oh.
Did you not see that in the messages?
No, I missed that.
I'm fine. I'm totally fine. It was minor, but yeah, I'm like heading over to Damon, and I just, I stopped to go get some gas, and I go to, I'm like stopped at the stop sign waiting to turn onto the road that I need to go onto, and some teenager that was most definitely texting, was turning into the gas station, took the turn too wide, and just hit me head on. Yeah, I was just sitting there. I was just sitting there waiting.
Oh man, yeah, I see it now. Yeah, for some reason I missed these messages on Friday. I think it's because you and Damon were talking back and forth trying to find each other at.
Oh yeah, probably yeah.
You're at Optimus Hall again, right?
Yeah, we were at Optimus Hall again. Yeah, so, it was quite an eventful evening. Luckily, I mean, it was like I said, it wasn't too bad. Like the damage was minimal, and the police came quickly to take a report and all that. And so, I mean, so far it's a minor inconvenience. It's not going to be a minor inconvenience once I have to go and get everything fixed and all that and deal with insurance and all that. But that night it was fairly minor. So
yeah, at least your car is still drivable.
Yeah, exactly. Like there was nothing leaking out of the bottom or anything. It's it's running just fine. It's just really a big dent in the front. So although his car barely had anything, I'm like, how did this happen? Yeah. So
of course.
Yeah, of course. That's always how it goes, right? So Damon and I had a good time though. We were chatting and got to meet his one son, and and his wife was there, and I met his wife before, so that was just seeing her again. So he did mention though. Good, sorry.
No, what do you want to say?
I was just gonna say he did mention he got into to Moonlight Magic, so he's gonna be doing Moonlight Magic, so that's cool. Yeah,
I'll be looking forward to that hopefully this breaks the curse.
A Moonlight Magic curse.
Yeah, because if you think about it, every time, I've been canceled a couple of times for hurricanes and pandemic. Yeah. Same thing with you. Like it's like every time we try to go, something happens, and so yeah, I hope Damon actually gets there.
To be fair, I'm trying to think of. I guess I had an April 2020 trip, and I'm trying to remember if I was going to a Moonlight Magic or not. Because I had one booked and I decided not to go. And it was Typhoon Lagoon and I didn't care. But
I feel because that was like the start of the pandemic, right? So I think that was the point where we were all canceling a lot of stuff. But it was the same thing. Like that year there was Moonlight Magic, and I think I had one. There was one planned in October was when I had my trip planned that year, and we had to cancel that one too. So it's not good. Yeah, so hopefully he can break the curse. I had 2 times over too, because he's doing the Typhoon Lagoon one, and then his parents are doing the one of the other ones. I think it's Epcot or no, Animal Kingdom. He's doing Animal Kingdom. Yeah, they're doing Animal Kingdom. Yeah. So maybe his parents can help us break the curse as well. Exactly. So. Yeah, we'll have to wait.
All right.
Anyway, let's why don't we start some listener questions here?
Yeah, that sounds good. So Connor wants to know, what is your biggest issue with Disney parks right now, or what's missing that affects your travel plans? I don't really know. I mean, I feel like pretty much everything is back. I don't even know what you mean by what's missing at this point. I mean, pretty much everything is back for the most part.
Yeah, we went in May, and you're right. Like I got to experience it firsthand, and I don't feel that there was anything really missing there from what I enjoyed about Disney. So I guess to the part of what's missing, Yeah, nothing's gone at the moment that I feel like, oh, my trip would be better if X was back. Like you said, I can't even think of like, other than a few restaurants, I can't think of anything that's really gone at the moment.
Well, and most of the things, I mean, the things that are still gone are coming back in the next month or two here, right? So like, I mean,
the character dining and stuff. Yeah. Which, I mean, I wasn't too concerned about that. Like even, and I guess that's the point. So even if I went on my next trip and character dining wasn't available, it wouldn't, or I guess, it wouldn't affect my plans. It would.
I mean, you just do something different. It's, you know, I mean, I think the train still being closed is a bummer. Like the railroad still being closed, like, you know, but it's been 4 years now, and that's not a pandemic thing. It's just, that's a construction of Tron thing. Right. So hopefully that'll be open again soon. And then, you know, and I'm not even going to try the name again. The princess dining over at Norway and Epcot. Yeah, that one. So that is closed, and I would love to do that with my daughter, but whatever. Enchanted Tales with Belle is another one I can think of that is great for my daughter's age, and I would like it to be open, but you know, we're going to go back again. So it's not like missing it this time is going to be the end of the world. We're going to go back another time, and if it's not open, you know, now, it's okay. I mean, Fantasmic again. You know, I would like Fantasmic to be open. I'm actually kind of surprised it's not. I seem to remember them saying in the beginning of the year this summer, and the summer is quickly, you know, not quickly ending. I mean, we still have a good amount of time.
We got 2 months.
Yeah. But you think they would have announced it by now? You know, when it's going to be reopening. But maybe I'm wrong about them saying this summer. I think they just said it was going to open this year. But, you know, and don't get me wrong, I'm hoping that it's open for when I go in October. Really am. But, you know, it's only 2 months between now and then. I mean, it could happen. But again, none of these things are going to really affect my trip all that much. It's stuff I wish was open, but it's not going to be the end of the world if they're not. I do also kind of wish they were doing breakfast at Crystal Palace too, because I would prefer to do breakfast at Crystal Palace than do dinner. But again, not the end of the world. I'll do lunch there, you know?
Yeah. So like you said, there are little things, but there's nothing that like, none of it's like, oh gosh, like that, you know, my trip's not going to be amazing because X isn't there. Right. Like there's nothing on that level.
Yeah, I mean, there's some things we need to adjust for, right? Like, you know, we have people that are flying in for this trip, and you know, there's no more Magical Express, so we have to, you know, get them some transportation, right? So yeah, that's something.
I did Quicksilver on my last trip, and I actually like that a lot better than the Magical Express. So,
well, I did a quick Google, man, and there are a lot of options.
Oh yes, there are. Yeah,
there's a shocking amount of options. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot to consider there. So, I mean, you know, but for the most part, I mean, mostly everything is still the same. I mean, there's some small changes here and there, but you know, it's nothing that's going to ruin my trip or make it difficult for me to do the trip that we typically do. So, and we're also just doing a different kind of trip this time too. You know, like we really haven't done a big family trip like this before, you know, for this many days. So this is going to be a new experience for us anyway, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So
now I guess we didn't really touch on the first part of his first question, which was,
but that's such a broad question though.
So,
go ahead, sorry.
So my biggest issue with Disney parks right now is people's attitudes.
Oh yeah. Well,
meaning
we were planning on talking about the fighting, but yeah.
No, well, yeah, I mean, that's extreme, but, and yes, yes, I think everybody's seen that fight, and you know, I'm not going, you know, you can go look it up yourself if you haven't seen it. But the idea though that I get people have gone a long time without Disney. You know, for some people it's like, you know, oh, I've been planning this trip for years, and you know, I was in that boat too. But that doesn't give you the right to ruin somebody else's trip because you're being unhappy. And I think that, and that's not an issue with, like, that's not cast members. That's not anything to actually do with Disney. It has to do with, you know, the way people behave in the parks. And I think that is something that needs to change, because and I don't know what the solution to that is. Like, I know it's, Disney can't tell people to be nice, but I think, people need to relax a little bit more, and people need to get a little bit of perspective on, yes, it's a big trip. Yes, it's, it can be very overwhelming, but maybe, slow down a little and
Sure.
stop getting wound up about everything. Cause yeah, I'm personally getting a little bit tired of seeing all this stuff on social media about just people not being cool. So
yeah, I mean,
that's my biggest issue.
Like, listen, I'm not making excuses, because I don't think there's any excuse for the kind of behavior we've seen, right? Like, but people are like stressed on vacation when they shouldn't be, and and the heat doesn't help anything, and the crowds don't help anything. But like, at the same time, if you are feeling like you want to get into a fight, maybe it's time to go home. Maybe it's time to go back to the hotel and take a breath, right?
Yeah.
And
you've lost the second that you're feeling that way. Yeah.
I mean, the interesting thing though is, like, I've seen so many of these things happening recently, and I feel like people are treating this like it's a recent phenomenon, which it really isn't. Because I remember pre-pandemic, like, I remember there was a fight in the line for Test Track. I remember that. I mean, there was this stuff is happening a lot, and it just shouldn't be, and I just don't know what you do about it, because it's not just Disney that's dealing with this, right? I mean, I don't know if you saw the article about Knott's Berry Farm.
Yes,
they had to close early because like there were so many fights in the park, they literally just closed the park. Like, I mean, and
they actually updated their guest policies because of it. I saw the aftermath of that was that anyone under 17 can't be there without a chaperone now. So
yeah, and I mean, in that case, it was teenagers causing problems, which teenagers do that, but this is like families, like, this is people with the matching shirts on,
some of these adults need chaperones.
Yeah, exactly. That's 100% true. Yeah. So, and I saw an article before with somebody like trying to give their side of the story and being all upset that they were like getting kicked off property and like being forced to be kicked out of their hotel. And I'm like, I don't really have sympathy for you. Like, I'm not going to feel bad that you got in a fight and are getting kicked out. You should get kicked out. There has to be consequences for these things.
Yeah. I mean, it's a matter of, if somebody is trying to engage, don't engage with them. Go get a cast member. Back off, because you're not proving anything by getting in a fight with these people. So
yeah, and listen, if these people were victims, right, and like they were just hapless victims, they were just walking by, and then this happened, then sure, fine, I do feel bad for you. Then I don't want you to get kicked out because it wasn't your fault, right? Mm-hmm. But it's you're having a fist fight in Disney World. It's like, what are you doing? I don't know.
Anyway, yeah, that enough about that. But yeah, that's my only issue with Disney right now is just people need to check their attitude a little bit. I think we need, people need to wind down a little more. Like, as we're getting back more to normal again, it's like, relax, please.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, there are people that went to the hospital in the last fight. I mean, like several people. Like, it's just not worth it. Just don't do that kind of stuff, man.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident anybody that listens to this podcast knows better. But
I would hope so. Yeah, I mean, I could see a couple of people, a couple of Jersey listeners.
Oh, don't. Don't do
No. I'm kidding.
Well, actually, who was it? Somebody was talking about starting a podcast war off of one.
It's Dan. Dan's been trying to get us to start a podcast war for like years now.
Yeah. No, Dan. No, we're not.
No, I mean, listen, just because you don't hear us doing the podcast war, there's a podcast war. It's just you don't hear about it. Okay, we're more covert about it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
Anyway,
this is not, or I guess what would be? Yeah, this isn't West Side Story. Okay,
it's not. Well, yeah, but that was
there's no dance number in the middle of the podcast.
That would not go well. Dance fighting would not go well.
That would not.
For our side, out. I mean, for our side, I feel like it would be bad. Yeah. So anyway, do you want to do Kent's question here? Yeah.
So Kent sent this one in via email. If you had to work at one of the DVC resorts, which resort would you work at, and what job would you want? Your family has to come with you. Your income and hours worked each day wouldn't change from what you're currently earning, regardless of which job you perform. So specifically at a DVC resort.
I don't know. I feel like it would be kind of great to just be like a lifeguard, just kind of like, but like, I mean, that's not really an easy job, like, I guess, because, I mean,
you got to be paying attention like all the time.
That's true. Yeah. No, there's a bunch of lifeguards that are just like, what are you talking about, Tom? Like, trying to make it seem like it's a lame job or an easy job. It's not an easy job.
No, I've watched them. You don't want that job.
Can I be one of the boat drivers? Does that count? Because that's not a resort thing. Yeah. I don't know. I don't really want any jobs at the resort.
I know which job I want it, and mine would be at the Polynesian. I'm sure everyone's shocked.
Of course, yeah.
But when I was waiting for my ride to pick me up from coming back on this last trip, I was sitting in the lobby, and there was a cast member there that was handing out the leis. Because that's one of the things at Poly that they just that everybody that comes in, they give them a lei, right? And that guy, he was having a great time. He was helping people answer questions and stuff, but he just had an armful of these leis, and he was the friendliest guy, and just hanging out in the lobby all day. That's what I want to do.
Yeah. No. Welcome to the show, David.
Yeah. We're clicking away over here. I have so much to do. I'm clicking away. Click.
You're already clicking. I was telling Trevor about our meetup on Friday night, which was just us. Like, we didn't have any listeners join us, but
no, it was just us.
Had a
Discuss
very loud
secret podcast things.
Secret podcast.
The covert podcast meetups.
The covert.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, so Damon and I met up, and we had some food.
I got pins. That was also a nice thing.
That was the important thing. Damon's very happy that they're much smaller than the old pins are. So
absolutely,
yeah, much smaller. So, we had a good time. I was just talking about my drama before I got there. So
yes, unfortunate. I felt bad. I felt bad for Tom.
It's okay. I survived. I'm good. So anyway,
yeah. Maybe that kid will think twice about texting while he's driving, but
yeah, I mean, I don't know what he was doing. I mean, he also said though too, he's like, yeah, the last time this happened, I was like, wait, this is the second time you've done this exact thing, and you're how old? Like,
no,
maybe it's time to not drive anymore. Yeah. So anyway, but yeah. So as far as like what job I would want, I don't know, man. Like, can I be the DVC person like at the resort that's like selling the DVD? Because they work for DVC, right? They don't work for the resort. Does that count?
But you're working at the DVC resort. I mean, that you're still a job at a DVC resort, right?
All right. Yeah, I guess so. I guess that counts.
You just get all right. So for people around the rooms and convince them to buy contracts.
Yeah. All right. I think that's good. I would probably want to work at probably Wilderness Lodge or Animal Kingdom, one of those. I mean, I think it'd be kind of cool at Animal Kingdom because you could at least like if you're bored, like you could just go look at a zebra for a few minutes. You know what I mean? Like, whereas you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it'd probably get boring after a while just to look at zebras and giraffes and stuff. But like, it would also be kind of cool to just look out and be like, oh, look at that. That's cool. I was bored. Nobody's coming up to me. Nobody wants to buy DVC today. But yeah, I think that's what I'd do.
Okay. So Kevin's question for us, he says, when watching the fireworks with your young kids, are you the on the shoulders kind of person, holding the arms kind of person, or you will watch from the ground and like it kind of person? Is there unwritten social etiquette for watching fireworks shows?
This is a tough one.
You don't do shoulders.
Yeah, agreed.
To everybody.
Agreed. I'll walk around with my son on my shoulders, or I did when he was younger. Won't do it now. Kids as big as I am.
Well, yeah.
But I did it when he was younger. But yeah, as soon as there was like a show or anything, I had him down and like I would pick him up and hold him. But that was when he was like really young. Most of the time, it was try and find a position where he can see the show and he can stand and watch the show.
Yeah, I mean, I had my daughter on my shoulders for like the parade one time. But I also checked behind me to make sure nobody was behind me. Like, we got to a spot where there was no one standing behind me, and I wouldn't have done it if it was blocking anybody's view.
Yeah, parade's a little bit different too, right?
Yeah,
because it's it's really hard to obstruct people's view. A fireworks show is
it's in the sky. Yeah,
exactly.
So everybody can see that, right? So yeah, it is a little bit different for a parade because there's all the stuff you want to see going on the ground. So yeah, I mean, listen, I don't really know how I'm going to handle this because my daughter really has never seen the fireworks show, but I like having my daughter on my shoulders, but even she's getting a little big for it because I mean she's coming up on like 40 pounds here. I don't know if my back can take it anymore. It's not like it used to be. But yeah, so I probably would just probably hold her in my arms or make sure we're in a spot that she could see.
Yeah, I think I did do the piggyback once with my son. Okay. That actually worked out when he was big enough that he could piggyback.
I think the piggyback's acceptable, right? Because you're not blocking anybody else's view with the piggyback.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's acceptable. Yeah, I don't know. I would be interested to see if we did like a poll on this in the group because I'm sure there are some people that are adamantly on the shoulder type people, right? I would think. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Yeah. I don't think there isn't. I don't think there's a rule for this, but yeah, I like kind of what Damon said is blocking other people's view, like just so that your kid can watch the show from your shoulders. Like the only time that would be okay is if you're at like the back and there's a wall behind you so that you're not obstructing anybody. If you're like in the middle, if you're in the middle of the hub and you're doing that, just don't.
Yeah, nowhere else I find it acceptable. Like, come on. Like, you don't know who you're obstructing when you're obstructing or what may happen that you don't think they're obstructing and then you are. It's just why?
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about the people that will like? So this is something that actually happened to me before I had my daughter. When it was just my wife and I solo. There was a person saving a spot in the fireworks area in the hub that was like saving a big spot for like 10 people. And then when they got there, they were all eating while they like were waiting for food and they had trays and they were eating while we were watching the fireworks. And I was like, I don't think you can reserve this space like that. Like, I don't know. I don't think that that's okay either.
I don't think you can, but again, it's one of those things where I'm not trying to argue because I don't have that energy, especially at that point. I mean, based on what I've seen at Disney now, Disney's a different place, and I just have no effort or energy to argue because, arguing with something about something like that may end up putting you in a spot where, you're going to be banned from the park too. And I don't have that with me. I don't have that energy with me.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about about that stuff before you got here. So
yeah,
go ahead.
The thing too, so there used to be a term in Disneyland it was called the blanket brigade, and it got so bad because on Main Street people were using blankets to reserve spots for the parade. So not the same as the fireworks, or not the fireworks.
Same thing though.
Yeah. And so it actually got to a point where there was a time where you would walk up Main Street like in the afternoon and there was just blankets lining the sidewalk on either side, which is just,
that's terrible,
stupid. And yeah, so Disney had to put in a policy where no, you can't be there. I think it's something like you can't be there more than a half hour ahead. And they're very clear about you can't reserve spots. You can't, if it looks like you're like setting up camp, a cast member will tell you to knock it off because they don't want that either. And, kind of like what you were saying, Tom, is, people shouldn't be, throwing down a blanket or setting up a perimeter so that they can reserve anything for their family. And it kind of goes into Disney's best interest too, of course, because, they'll say, if you really want, premium view for the fireworks, you either have to take your chance and get there when everyone else does, or you pay for, a dessert package or something like that, right? Like Disney doesn't want to encourage people to do what you were talking about, Tom.
Well, like this lady was like just standing there and she had like her arms out and legs out. She just basically was like spread out like and as far as she could and just like, just be like on guard. Like, so if anybody walked up, she's like, no, this is reserved. And it's like, and I come up there and I'm like, I don't see anybody here, so I'm gonna stay here. Like, but this was years ago. But I mean, yeah, I don't know. I just don't feel like that's. I don't know. It's a sticky question. It's kind of similar to like, can you say place in line for somebody on a ride?
No.
Which I think the answer is no. I don't think that should be.
You know, I don't believe in that at all. I even had my son.
What about bathroom though?
Well, that's different. That's different.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Phew. Okay.
Yeah, if you start in line and then leave for whatever reason and then come back, that's okay. But if you're like, I don't know.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I was with some friends and we were in line for Space Mountain. And as we got to the front, my son said he had to go to the bathroom. So my friends actually rode Space Mountain, and I just stepped out of the line, took my son to the bathroom. And the cast members did offer that, they would have let me come back in, but yeah, even that, like, I know what you're thinking, Damon, that, you should be able to take your kid to the bathroom and come back. But I still don't even want to do that. Like, if I step out of line, I step out of line. Yeah.
I agree with that too. It's just like if you're in line for like a new pair of shoes or an iPhone, right? Like you step out of line. It's funny. There's this terrible show that I seem to watch on Amazon called Fairfax, which is, it's terrible, but funny at the same time. But like there's rules to lines, right? Like there's rules and you step out. Now, I almost think that at some point there should have been kind of like a way to facilitate if someone needs the bathroom and needs to come out and get back in line, almost like a cast member that would manage that process. I get that seems daunting, but I think that would be a great thing if you had somebody managing that.
In some of the newer rides,
there's a bathroom halfway through.
Halfway through, yeah, like right in the line there, and they have a cast member like standing there, like, all right, you can come back in line. Like so your whole party just waits there. That's good.
I agree. I just think on the older rides there should be something that facilitates that, kind of like almost like you're getting that thing around your neck, like those cards that they used to do for the timing of the lines. Yeah, like just get something like that you can just come right back. Like that would make it a lot easier. And then if someone is coming through the line and you see that they have that, there's no question about it at that point. They're just coming back because of the bathroom.
Yeah, but that needs to become like you said, it's an etiquette and it's an awareness thing, because I'm sure, those of us that go to Disney enough, we would see it and be like, oh, we know what that is. That's fine. Or maybe the person, that has the bathroom card uses the fast pass lane, and then that way it's not. Well,
it depends on when they get offline. Right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. But if in my case, we got up pretty much to the front, or where Space Mountain splits off into the
Space Mountain's a tough ride to have to go to the bathroom on. That's for sure.
And that was the thing, is that I was like, if we're getting out of line here, I'm not going to try and get back to this point. So to me, that would, if they were like, we'll give you like a 5-minute fast pass or something where, like you go to the bathroom and then get back in line.
And it could be, to the point where like there's different sections of the line. I don't know. I feel like that's always been kind of something that could have been managed, but it would require manpower, which unfortunately then just requires a cost. But I think that would be a well worth it cost.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting conversation about line etiquette. So
Mm-hmm.
I like that we went from on the shoulders to line etiquette.
Well, I mean, it's all
similar.
kind of
it's similar.
One and the same, right? It's, there is etiquette to being in the parks, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, listen, I've told this on the show before. The thing that drives me the craziest is, and this happens constantly when you're at Disney, is people that just stand in front of the standby or the fast pass line, or the lightning lane, just like stand in the entranceway, like just block.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like, and just have no awareness of anyone around them.
It's like I always like the. I've seen this a couple of times where, I feel bad for the family, but I also have to laugh, where it's like you can see the dad staring at the times, and he's figuring stuff out. He's doing complex math in his head for like wait time versus previously it was fast passes and all that, and you can see him like trying to figure out how to make it happen, and the kids are like, they either want to go get in line, and you can see that look of fear on their face where they're like, no, I don't want to do this because, it's like 2 hours or whatever. And yeah, I'll admit I do kind of laugh at that because I feel bad for the parent because he knows what they're getting into, and of course the kids have they'll be miserable after standing there for an hour. But I always love they just stand right in front of the queue doing all the math in their head.
Yeah, and you just can't get around. They're just standing there, and it's like obvious that people are trying to go by, or the people like that stop in the middle of the walkway, like you're just walking, and then all of a sudden people just stop, and it's like, oh, move over to the side. Or another one too is even getting off rides. The people that when you're at the exit, and then there's people that just stop in the exit way, and it's like, like how do people not realize you're blocking a walkway? Like. It's not that difficult to figure out. I don't understand that one. It drives me crazy. So anyway, right. Francisco, is this mine or yours? So you want to do it? Yeah,
go for it.
I think. All right. So what Disney animated TV show would you like to see brought to live action as a limited series show and done the right way, not an 80s nostalgia throwback montage like they did with Chippendale?
I don't know. I like Chippendale.
It was good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I definitely want a throwback sort of thing. I don't know. It's tough. I would like to see, I think Darkwing would be pretty cool. Gargoyles would be really cool.
As a live action? Gargoyles live action. Yeah, that would be good.
That'd be awesome. But I think Darkwing would be pretty cool too.
I would want to see Lilo and Stitch live action.
Well, they're doing that. They're doing that.
But I want to see it as a series. Like how they did the old cartoon, but as a series.
Yeah, because they're doing a movie, because I just saw that they hired a director for that. Although it's funny because remember like years ago there was that fake picture of like the live action Stitch floating around the internet, and everybody kept thinking that's what it was, but it was like somebody had just made that. So like we don't really know what he's going to look like, but I mean I think it could be interesting. So
I hope it doesn't turn out like Sonic did, Sonic before they redid Sonic.
I was going to say the second iteration of Sonic was good, right?
Yeah, but that required a lot of feedback to get that to happen.
It did. Yeah, it should be interesting to see how they're going to render Stitch into a real form. Without
him being terrifying.
Yeah, like you got to still make them like cuddly, right? But like also,
yeah,
it's going to be hard. But I mean, I'm sure they'll figure it out. I'm not too worried about that. All right, so let's see. Jill, now with all the media out on the Disney Wish, what are your thoughts on it? Any plans to do the 2023 DVC member cruise now that you don't have to use points?
It's sold out anyway, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I don't care about a member cruise.
I don't either.
But the Wish looks amazing. All the stuff I've seen looks incredible. I mean...
Yeah, like when I want to do another cruise, like I think the Wish is definitely on board. But yeah, the member cruise almost feels like it would be too much work, if that makes sense. Like, yes, there's going to be special things and there'll be, some tchotchkes that I guess people would want. But at the end of the day, I feel like it almost might be a little bit too much work because there's a lot to do that you feel like you have to do because it's a member cruise, where a regular cruise, is not. The whole point, I feel like, of a cruise is relaxing and eating, not doing like running from thing to thing. And I feel like it would turn into almost like a trip to the park, which is not usually relaxing unless you go often. You get what I'm saying? And I don't know who can do often Disney cruises because they're just expensive, especially with 5 people.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. Also, how do we didn't even talk about this, and this is probably my fault for not putting this on here, but that $5,000 drink that they're serving in the Star Wars bar. Have you guys read about this?
I did, but I mean, don't you get to visit Skywalker Ranch or something?
Yeah, it like comes with a lot of stuff, right? So like it's not just the drink, and then plus what's in the drink is like crazy expensive alcohol.
Not $5,000 alcohol though.
Not far off. Yeah, let's see. I don't
know. I feel any expensive alcohol is past a certain point. You're not. I don't know. I feel people just make stuff up sometimes to claim that it's expensive.
Well, I mean, like for something like a 23-year bourbon, like that's always going to be expensive because it's been aged for 23 years. So, but yeah, there's some interesting things in here. Let me see. Oh yeah, so it's the beverage, a special themed escort off the ship. Visit the Skywalker Ranch, and yeah, so that's I guess what you get alongside this, and then it also there's 4 drinks as part of it. It's not just one drink, and it comes in a cool thing. So a cool thing is the it's the way I'm going to say that. Yeah. So I mean, it's funny that we just didn't talk about that because I know that was like blowing up the internet. But yeah, let's see. But yeah, the ship itself looks amazing. It really does. I mean, all the videos I've seen, the spaces look really cool. I was watching a video last night of what happens when it hits midnight in the lobby, and like the whole lobby like does a crazy show. Like it's very cool. So I mean, I definitely want to check it out, and I at some point. But I think we might do a cruise in the next year or two here. So that'll probably be the next time we do it. Maybe next year. But yeah, I mean, like you said, Damon, they're pricey, right? So like, I want to make sure that my daughter is going to be able to appreciate it and enjoy it.
Oh yeah, I think that's still too young. I mean, unless you plan on doing it again, to be honest with you. But then the other flip side of it is that there's a lot of cool stuff that they kind of grow out of quickly on the ship as well. So
that's true. Yeah, that's true. That is true. So okay, yeah. So yeah, I hope that answers the question about the Wish. Do we have anything else about the Wish for that? I mean,
nope.
Yeah. I feel like we need to bring on some of our friends from that do the Disney cruise shows to talk about the Wish, but maybe we'll do that sometime soon here. But anyway, all right. So Chris, do you want to read Chris's question, Trevor or Damon? Either.
Oh, yeah. So Chris says, what show crossovers would you love to see or think would work best? I'm thinking how well it would go if you took Big City Greens and dropped them in Gravity Falls for a few episodes.
I almost feel like I needed to prepare for this, and I wasn't really prepared for this.
I was waiting for you to jump in there. Okay.
Yeah, that's the tough part. Like, I don't think I really prepared for this. I mean, obviously we got DuckTales and Darkwing, right?
Yeah.
And those are same universe already, though, right?
Yeah. So you're saying outside universe? I mean, I liked Big City Greens, Gravity Falls. I mean, the Ghost and Molly McGee and Big City Greens. I mean, I like Big City Greens a lot, and I was surprised at how many people like aren't in love with that show like I am. I really did surprise me. Like, I think that even when we were away, like my kids, besides my daughter, were like vehemently against Big City Greens. I'm like, how? Like, it's awesome. It's a great show. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I really would have to think about that one. So especially if we're going different universes. I mean, I think that American Dragon is always a great show that I love. I mean, I could see that playing out in the Gargoyles universe. That would be really neat.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the brief Simpsons Gravity Falls crossover for a second? Did you guys see that?
No.
Yeah, there was like. Yeah, it was a while. I think it was a while ago, but it was Bill Cipher was on The Simpsons briefly.
Oh, that's funny. So you guys know about Chibiverse, right?
Yeah,
or Chibiverse or whatever. You know that's coming the end of. Is it this month? I think it might be the end of this month. It might be next week. I think is the first episode.
What is that?
Yeah, so Chibiverse is I don't even know if I'm saying it right. Is it Chibi?
Chibi, like
CHIBI, whatever that is.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Cute little things, yeah.
Yeah, so what they've been doing is they've been doing chibi episodes of shows, right? But now what they've decided is that they're going to do a Chibiverse, like, short show that's going to be a crossover of all the different characters in the same universe. And that, I think, airs next week, the first episode. I'm looking forward to that a lot.
Okay.
So I'm looking at, like, it looks like they do some tie-ins with like Amphibia and stuff like that.
It's pretty much all the shows exist in Chibiverse, so that they're all connected. Yeah. So you got DuckTales, you got everything.
Oh wow, Halloween Town's in here.
Yeah, I mean it's everything. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Chibiverse is everything in one universe, which is kind of cool. It's a shame that they're shorts, but it will be a very neat start, and I think that's kind of what we're. The same sort of premise that they're talking about.
Oh, even Star versus the Forces of Evil. I forgot about that show. I actually really like that.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting question. There's some cool stuff that they could do. I mean, I just saw about like recently about that Gravity Falls thing, even though it happened. I think it was like October of last year. I think it happened, but I I mean, that kind of stuff is interesting, especially since Disney has The Simpsons now. So, which is just weird. But I mean, they've already. I feel like Disney always looks for any opportunity to do a crossover, right? Like they love doing stuff like that. So
yeah, it's good and it's bad. It's nice to see the multi-universe things are fun, but sometimes I feel they take it a little too far.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. So, all right. Should we go ahead and do our ad, or do we want to say anything else about this?
Nope, I think I'm good.
Our ad this week is for DVC Rental Store. The DVC Rental Store, a World of DVC company, offers magical vacations at incredible value. Save up to 60% off retail rates at premium Disney resorts. DVC Rental Store now includes deposits as low as 25% at the time of booking and a built-in cancellation policy for every reservation. And as always, DVC Rental Store pays out the most to members looking to rent their points. Want to learn more? Go to dvcrentalstore.com or call 1-855-DVC-RENT. That's 1-855-382-7368. And please be sure to let them know that Welcome Home sent you.
I'm trying to book a Dollywood trip for Christmas.
Oh, really? You're going to do like a real Dollywood trip? Like actually go to the park or?
Yeah. But I'm trying to figure out swim schedule with, college schedule, with work schedule, with all of that. I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I have no idea how you keep track of all the things that you have to do. Cause so
right now I have the school calendar up, the college calendar up, and then the sports calendar up. And I try to, just guess. But, I think what we're going to start doing is, and we talked about this is more of just a general vacation thing, is that we're going to just start booking stuff. And if we decide then 30 days out, it just doesn't work, then we'll just cancel. We're going to just start doing that now, because this thing for, let's say Christmas, I was thinking, oh, this would be great. My son's home from college the 10th, we'll just do it right after that. I'm like, oh, wait, the other kids are still in school. It doesn't work. So I think we'll just start doing stuff. And I think I'll start doing that with Disney too. Oh, I want to go to Disney. We're going to book, we figured next June. I'll just book it. And then if 3 months from now we decide that we're not doing it, then we're not doing it.
Yeah, it's easier to cancel than it is to try and
absolutely. And things that are outside Disney just perpetually get more expensive anyway.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, so how far out can you cancel to not have to go into holding? What is that number again?
30 days. Yeah, okay. I forget if it's 30 or 31 off the top of my head.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I mean, it's pretty far out, right? So
yeah, I think that we'll just have to start doing that.
Yeah, it's 30 days. Yeah, Trevor was right, and it's 31 days or more before check-in. It's there's no penalty for that. So
yeah, so I think we'll start doing that, especially for our Disney trips now.
Yep, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense. It's kind of what you have to do, right? So all right, so we've got we've talked a little bit about MagicBand Plus before, but now it's actually launching for real this time.
There's actually a video with what's her name. Who is the Ariel, the voice of Ariel?
Oh, yeah. Jodie Benson.
Jodie Benson.
Yeah.
She's promoting
this. Even she can't sell it.
What do you mean even she can't sell it?
Dude, it's a waste.
I mean, there are a lot of people interested in this. I mean,
So from what I saw in the video that she did, I mean, she's waving at the statues and they talk back to her or something.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
It's just an interactive thing. I mean, listen, I'm not really interested.
But how is that interactive? I feel like I'm not really interacting with them. I don't know. It just
your interaction is that you have the band and you're bringing it close to the statue, right? That's
that's just I don't know, man.
I mean, I think the Star Wars,
something like it's like the old ears that they sold that lit up with the show.
Lit with the show.
Yeah. It's kind of on that same level. The one thing I will say though is that the fact that these Magic Bands are rechargeable, I think that's
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a benefit.
Yeah, the long. I care more about being able to use the long range RFID for photos and stuff like that. This it's I'm talking to the Fab 50 statues. Yeah, I don't care.
I don't either.
You know what I mean? They're not.
The Star Wars one though is cooler because you're trying to find a bounty hunter or something. I don't know. Right?
Yeah, that's a little bit more interactive, right? Because essentially you're it's taking you on a scavenger hunt, right? And it's vibrating and lighting up when you're going down the right path is what it says, right? And then there's an augmented reality thermal viewer to show you like different things. So yeah, I mean it's interesting, right? Like that's kind of cool. And to your point, Trevor, I really hadn't thought about the rechargeable idea, right? Like that's I think a big thing. And truthfully, this is less expensive than I thought it was going to be at $35. So
yeah.
I think I may get one or two of these. Like, and the thing is at that price point, I'm not like the old Magic Bands. Them being a little bit cheaper, I was like, yeah, every trip I could get a new Magic Band, but the fact, and also kind of knowing that, the batteries were going to die in them anyway, that you had to keep buying them. But if this is like, hey, if I buy one and I can keep it charged, I don't see the need to buy more than one.
Yeah. I wonder how long the charge lasts for. It doesn't even say on here.
No, it does. I read something. It's a day or two or something.
Yeah. It's
really? It's that little?
Yeah.
Wow.
But then
I would think it would last longer.
But then you just plug it into a USB port and like.
Yeah, and you could carry a USB charger with you, so it's not like.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm sure the non long range RFID stuff like still works, right?
Does,
so like
yes,
you'll still be able to get in your room, you'll still be able to get your fast pass, you'll still be able to get into the park and all that, even if it dies, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. So okay. So that's not too bad. I mean, it is interesting though, because like I've just for my upcoming trip here, I was just looking at the Magic Band selection, because some of the people in my party don't have them. And I mean, like we have like 1 million of them, right? So we're not getting new Magic Bands for our upcoming trip. But my daughter needs one. She doesn't have one. Mm-hmm. And some of the family members have like lost theirs or whatever. So, but I was looking at the selection and there's like nothing, right? And I know that's partly because of supply issues and stuff like that. But I do wonder if they're just like going to full on just completely replace the basic ones with this. I don't know. I don't think they will, but
I think they'll let the basic ones sell out because I feel that they'll just. People will buy them in the parks and in downtown Disney and stuff still.
Yeah.
Until, I think they'll sell as many of them of the old ones as they can before I don't think you'll see them start pushing the Magic Band Plus really hard for like at least another year would be my estimate.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. I noted that there was a very low selection of the regular ones, but like I said, they're actually saying right on the website that they have some supply issues, which, is a thing that's going on. So like, I believe them when they say that. It's interesting. And this probably was delayed too because of that. Like they probably wanted to get these out sooner. But I do think it's a decent price point. It's not as much as I thought it was going to be. And, the glow with the show stuff was cool, when it happened. But I mean, first of all, it wasn't great in the way that you had to like wear them. Like the ears that my wife had were basically like were like a construction helmet. They were like, they had a really hard top to them. And it wasn't the most comfortable thing in the world. So, but it was cool. Like when they had the magic wands and stuff, I remember there was a kid that had the magic wand and he was like waving it at the ears and it kept making the ears do stuff, and that was pretty cool. And this is just kind of a different version of that, right? I mean, except for like the bounty hunter thing, right? That's a creative thing that they came up with that's a little bit different. And the statues obviously, but it's interesting because like the 50th anniversary stuff is only going on for 18 months. So like after that, like you lose a whole piece of that interactivity, like that's going to be gone at some point.
But I think I don't think you're going to lose it. I mean, they're going to keep changing it out like they've done with so many things in the past. I think what you're going to see with this is that, things like the bounty hunter stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if this turns into a new version of what was the card game called? Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom.
Oh yeah, they could do that too. Yeah.
Like I can see them doing stuff like that in the future once the 50th is done. Because honestly, like I said, the 50th is kind of, it's a little underwhelming to me what they're doing with it. Like it just seems like this is their tech demo of hey, here's our new Magic Bands and here's what they can do and all that.
You mean with specifically with this, it's underwhelming. It's just like because they're just doing the statue thing and that's
exactly So I feel what I would hope to see with it and what would make it more interesting in the future is if the MagicBand played into more Batu like stuff where, I'm like I said, I'm thinking Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom. I'm also thinking there's the pirate adventure thing in Adventureland where you get the maps and go around, and that's done right now with MagicBand scanning different points. But again, if they up that to the next level where there was the band was like directing you where to go and stuff like that. I think there's a lot of potential for it, but the problem right now is that we've all been keeping an eye on this stuff, and it's very much an early adopter phase, meaning
that's true.
Yeah. Anytime you get any new tech, like it's the same thing that happens when any new technology comes out. Is the first people to get it usually get usually the worst experience for it, because it's like, oh, I bought this new phone or I bought this new thing, and it's like, yeah, but there's no apps available for it, or there's nothing interesting to do with it. And so you end up kind of sitting on it for the first little while until the real interesting stuff comes out. And unfortunately, getting it too early sometimes means you miss out entirely because you just lose interest in it.
Yeah.
So,
what's interesting about this though too, and I'm realizing this, because I don't see them saying this. It doesn't look like they're selling these like pre-trip.
No,
they're
not.
You have to buy these once you're in the park. They're not selling them before the trip. That's from what I'm seeing. I mean,
not yet, at least. Like I said,
not yet. I mean, yeah.
That's where I think that this is. They've advertised a couple of things for this, but where it'll really shine is when they have. This is a way to tie together all those experiences that they've had in the parks over the years. Like it's the Phineas and Ferb or the DuckTales adventure in Epcot. It's it's Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom. It's doing stuff in Batu. It's they can use this kind of technology throughout the parks for different interactive things, but until it gets to that point where it's very prevalent, right now there is. That them selling them ahead of time, a lot of people are going to buy these Magic Bands and go, okay, well, I paid, for a more expensive Magic Band that lights up. Now what? Like it still does, it's just my room key and, for scanning my, not fat or Genie Plus stuff. Like,
yeah, I know.
Right.
We're just going to call it Fast Pass forever.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? It's the Fast Pass. Yeah. It's always the Fast Pass.
You know an interesting thing I noticed in here though too, where they mentioned, and it's just kind of like and maybe they just said this in a way that's not right, but they said before you embark on these experiences, make sure your MagicBand Plus is charged, up to date, and paired to your device. Yeah,
because it works with the My Disney Experience app.
Yeah, so this is not like a regular MagicBand where it's kind of like, I don't want to say it's dumb, but it is kind of dumb, right? Like it's you're not connecting it to your phone. Mm-hmm. It's connected to your account, but that's all on the back end. This you're actually pairing with your phone, I'm assuming via Bluetooth, right? Like and there's some sort of interaction that's happening there. I don't know what.
Well, and I think the Batu thing describes that, is that it's that augmented reality thing where you're using the scanner in the app, but the band is working with the app to do that augmented reality stuff. So yeah, I can see why they would want to do that, because again, you're actually leveraging the phone technology to do more than what the MagicBand can do.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
But the downside of that too is, them saying, hook up your MagicBand to your phone. Well, if this thing is on my Bluetooth all the time, how quickly is it draining the battery on my phone as well as itself?
That's a good question. Unless it just requires that initial pair to set it up, or like to make sure it's up to date. I don't know.
Or if it's, or maybe as long as it's not pulling every if it's pulling the app every 2 seconds. I can see why this thing only lasts for a day or less. But then the other side too is, if you don't have a great phone, I could see this sucking the life out of your phone relatively quickly too.
Yeah. No, I agree. It'll be interesting to see how that works out. So
yeah,
I just thought that was interesting because I hadn't noticed that before, that you actually had to pair it.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea, but like I said, I think we're still very much, it's just releasing now, and this is early adopter phase. So, let's see what Disney does with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Yeah. All right.
So Victoria and Albert's.
Yeah, newly refurbed. And why does that link not open for me?
I don't know. It's a tweet. So
probably because
I mean, listen. Yeah, I don't either. Yeah, I mean, like, listen. This looks really nice. And Victoria Albert's is always very nice, right? It's like one of the highest rated restaurants in all of Florida. It's I think it's the only, or one of the only, what is it, 4 diamond or whatever the thing is.
High, or 4-star.
It's a very,
it's a nice
restaurant. It's one of the few places they actually enforce the dress code, right? Like,
yeah,
because most of the time they don't really care. But like this place, you actually have to dress, nicely. But so it's coming back. I think I talked about this before. Like, I just don't see myself eating there, right?
No, I don't either. I agree with you. It's not that. I guess given the opportunity, I would dress up and go somewhere nice like this. But when I'm at Disney, that's like the furthest thing from my mind.
A fancy dinner.
Yeah. Like that's not why I'm there. But again, that's just me. That, anybody who does that, all the more power to you. It's, everyone has their own preferences. For me, yeah, go, like, my wife and I have talked about it, and yeah, that's not somewhere we want to go.
I mean, like, I would do it. I would definitely like treat, if we wanted to treat ourselves to something really nice one time, it would probably be the way we would do it. Right. But like, Trevor, you hung out with me. I'm not I'm not the most open person with eating. Like, you know what I mean? Like I don't eat a lot of different things. Like, yeah, I don't eat seafood, and I typically don't eat red meat, and
and their menu is very different,
fancy.
Yeah,
very fancy.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I mean it's also, so let's see, the menu starts at $295 per guest.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, is that all? Is exactly right. So. Yeah, it's pricey, right? Like you're going to be spending a lot of money if you go to do this, which is also another reason why I'm not really rushing to go to Victoria and Albert's.
Yeah,
it's just a lot of money, especially for something that I don't know that I would completely enjoy.
Yeah, that's a hard one. Yeah, if you're not 100% on board with it, like you said, you and I hung out, and me, I'm much more willing to try different things. So I'm sure.
Yeah, a lot of things. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sure I would go in there and I would be willing to, I would enjoy whatever the palette is. But yeah, it's like I said, to me though, it's just not somewhere that I would want to spend my money and put the effort into, like, having that experience, unless it happened to get dropped in my lap. Right. Like if you got it for free, is that what you're saying? Or? Yeah. If somebody was like, hey, let's go to Victoria and Albert's, I'd be like, okay, but this isn't something where I'm saying to my wife, hey, we need to go to Victoria and Albert's.
Yeah. This is like, I always say to my wife, like, if we were like super rich people, like that we would be like the worst rich people. Cause like, this is just not our scene. Right. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, this is just not the kind of place we want to be at.
Did you, there's a Canadian band called Bare Naked Ladies.
Yeah, of course. I know Bare Naked.
There's a song, If I Had $1 Million.
Yeah, exactly.
We wouldn't have to eat craft dinner, but we would.
I forget sometimes that Bare Naked Ladies are Canadian, but I mean that's
they are very Canadian. Yes.
Well, yeah, to call it craft dinner is that's a very Canadian thing to call it. That's But so what I was saying before is that they won the AAA 5 Diamond Award every year since 2000. And that's, I guess, a big deal. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. So cool. But again, this is not my scene. I think I told the story before on the show that when my wife and I were on our honeymoon and we were eating at like one of the nicer restaurants at Disney, and somebody brought us. Where were we? I don't even remember. But they brought us like a warm towel before we ate dinner. I think I told you guys this, right? And I literally looked at the waiter and I was like, what do I do with this? Why are you handing this to me? Like, and he was like, oh, to like wash your hands. I was like, oh, okay, well, that's weird. Like, I just didn't expect that at my table. Which, it's funny because you don't really see that at a lot of even like the signature restaurants at Disney. It was, I think it was I want to say it was Jico at Animal Kingdom Lodge, but yeah, I mean, this is just the kind of thing that I'm not into. But you can't even see a menu either, ahead of time either. I don't think like they don't even have the menu listed on here. They just say you select from 2 different tasting menus.
Yeah, because it's you get there and it's like it's here's your 5 courses and here's option A or option B is kind of the thinking. Yeah,
I can't. That's too much unknown. I can't do that.
A little too risky for you.
Yes, it's a risky proposition, especially when I'm spending $300 a person.
Yeah,
it doesn't even include drinks.
Yeah, you just get water at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Like that doesn't even include drinks. I mean, that's too much, man. I'm just, I just can't. I can't do it. So, I have some friends that did do it, that are very into Disney and did go there one time, and they're big like food people. Right. So like they had a great time there. But like I said, it would probably be kind of torturous for me. Like just try to find things that I would actually want to eat. But listen, we got these photos and it's reopening, I think, this week. If you're hearing us, this is
July 28th. So it'll be 3 days after this podcast comes out.
Which is a weird day to open. It's like in the middle of the week, right? It was a Thursday?
Yeah. I think Wednesday. No.
28th Thursday. Yeah. So it's, I mean, that's kind of weird just to do that. But, it's good that they refurbished it. I mean, again, if you're spending $400 a person at a restaurant, you really like want to, is it 300 or 400? Did I say 300 or 400?
It was 300. It was like $295.
Yeah, it was $295. Okay, yeah. So, I mean, you obviously want it to be updated and modern and be, as nice as it is. And Disney seemed to resist the temptation to throw in any, IP into this restaurant too, seemingly. Which
again,
same thing. Yeah,
absolutely. For the type of restaurant it is, it shouldn't be themed or theme park-esque. And it's kind of along the same lines as Club 33, right? Like, because the whole thing about Club 33 is that it was. The original one in Disneyland, it was somewhere for Walt to bring VIPs and stuff like that. Yeah. The decor in there is definitely not Disney decor. Like it's he picked out a lot of historical stuff, a lot of very, very nice like artwork and whatnot. So yeah, I feel this is the same kind of experience. It's not meant to be a theme park experience. It's meant like you said, it is a high-end restaurant that just happens to be on theme park property.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, that's all I really have on Victoria and Albert's, but I mean, it's always, it's good to see these things making a comeback, even though it's taking, longer than I think a lot of people would like. It's some of these things just take longer, like they just take longer, and there's a lot of things behind the scenes that we don't know that are going on, whether it be not being able to get the right people in there, or one of the problems with Space 220 is they kept losing their head chef, right? Like they lost their head chef a couple times. Like who knows? Maybe they had a hard time finding a head chef for this. Although the person that is the head chef, I believe, is somebody that's worked at the Grand Floridian for a long time. So it's somebody that's a known entity. But again, just finding the right cast members to work this restaurant, and then getting the refurbishment done and all that stuff. So
I feel it was that they saw an opportunity to do the refurbishment.
Exactly.
And occasionally budget trumps doing things the right way, but I feel like that's this is one of those restaurants where they will say, no, we're doing this the right way because it is a high-end restaurant. So yeah, makes sense.
The highest end restaurant, right? So, all right, so that's cool. And then the only other stuff we have, this is actually a really light news week.
Mm-hmm.
Very light this week. So there's just some stuff around the Disney Wish, and then just some of the different things that they are the adult experiences that they're promoting, right? Like this really fancy looking spa they got over here. That looks really cool.
Yeah, it does. I don't know. I guess my thing is, like I said, we don't do any cruises because, that doesn't work for my family. But I feel like on a cruise ship, like a spa, or for me, we've done, like, my wife and I have gone for couples massages in the past. And I feel like if you're on a boat and it's moving, I could never fully relax. So, like, having a spa day to me feels like a bit of a waste on a cruise ship. I don't know.
But maybe it would make you relax, though. Maybe that's what would get you to relax, is the nice spa. See, I like boats, right? So, like, I find the rocking of a boat to be very relaxing, right? Like, that's, for me, would be very relaxing. But, truthfully, on the cruise ships, they rock a little bit, but they, for the most part, are not usually too rocking back and forth, like, where it's, unless you're, hitting really bad weather or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I know what you're saying. I get what you're saying. But the spot looks really nice on the Wish. It does. It looks very fancy. It looks very fancy and pricey and expensive.
Yeah.
And then
go ahead. Where's this? There's a Beauty and the Beast themed restaurant, or they're showing just the light fixture,
the lounge. It's like a lounge.
Yeah.
And then Palo is everybody. I've always heard really good things about that restaurant. I don't know if Damon's ever eaten there, but I know a lot of people talk about how good that one is. So yeah, this looks really nice. Don't get me wrong. I really do want to take a trip and go on the Wish or any of the ships, really. I'm happy to go on any of the ships at any time. But the other thing we had on here too was just that they had announced some, like, holiday stuff they're doing on the ships.
Yeah.
Which
kind of lines up with Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party and the Not So Scary Halloween Party.
It does, yeah. So they're doing, like, this is a return. So they're doing they're doing Halloween on the High Seas, which they've done in the past, I guess. From mid-September through October. This is 2023. Yeah, so this is for 2023. So this is for next year. But yeah, so I guess they're not doing these this year. But yeah, so for next year, if you're doing that, they're doing Halloween, and they're also doing, like you said, the Very Merry Christmas cruises. So yeah, these look cool too. Like I said, I just don't know if it's just too early to do it with my daughter or not. But I'm sure there are lots of people out here there that do these cruises with, I guess she'd be 5 by the time we do it. I guess 5, she'd probably be old enough to enjoy one, but I don't know. So, that's really all we had for this week, right? Like, there wasn't a lot of stuff in the news or anything like that. So we can actually have a short episode for once. Is that possible?
Sorry, folks.
Are we allowed to have a short episode? Is that okay?
I think that's okay. That we know that D23 is going to be coming here in, what is it, September? I thought was when.
Yeah, September.
Yeah,
well, listen, if you were paying attention to Comic-Con yesterday and you're a Marvel fan, they announced a lot yesterday.
The extended, or the new multiverse phase 5 stuff.
The next 2 phases, basically. Well, a phase and a half, I'd say. And all the stuff that they announced coming up here, it's just like, I'm excited about it as somebody who likes to watch all the shows and all the movies. I'm excited for all the things that are upcoming. I know a lot of people were like, well, where's all this going? And what's happening? But man, that's some pretty exciting stuff. So
the nice thing is that I can't watch all of it. Like there's just too much between Star Wars and Marvel. But I like the fact that I can pick and choose stuff out of it. Like they've done a really good job with a lot of these shows that we can, you can jump into a show and you can just watch it by itself. And if you happen to catch, some of the extended universe stuff in it, great. But you don't need to know all the backstories of everybody to enjoy the shows. So
I think it's a little bit easier to do that with the Star Wars stuff, but and harder to do it with the Marvel stuff, right? Because like the Marvel stuff is so interconnected, and like they, you know, are introducing characters in one show that later shows up in a movie, and like, I mean, you can still watch those things, but you're just not going to understand as much. You know what I mean?
But that's my point. Is like you don't need to know, you know, the story arc from Hawkeye to enjoy the Avengers.
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
Like,
I guess.
You know,
yeah.
You can watch the Avengers and you can enjoy that. And then you can watch Hawkeye if you want extended information about Hawkeye or just to enjoy that character arc. But yeah it's like I said, I like it because, you know, I'll admit, you know, I've skipped lots of Marvel shows over the years, like, and part of it is, you know, being in the mood for it. And then part of it's also, you know, sometimes I'll watch a preview for a show and I'm just like, no, that's not what I thought it was going to be, or that's not what I want to watch right now. So, like even, you know, for me, I really enjoyed WandaVision, and seeing Agatha House of Harkness in there.
That's exciting.
Yeah. I'm like, oh wow, I hope that's really good. But I'm also accepting that, you know, as we get closer to when that comes out, that may not be what I was expecting either. And that's fine.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah. All right, let's wrap up then.
All right. So if you guys want to get a hold of us, you can always find us at welcomehomepodcast@gmail.com. We love getting your questions via email. We love hearing stories from you guys and, you know, just interacting with you guys over email. Same thing on social media. If you want to find us on Facebook, you can find us as Welcome Home Podcast, and you can find our Facebook group, Welcome Home Disney Waitlist. You can check out our YouTube and Instagram channels, Welcome Home Podcast for YouTube. Instagram is Welcome Home Pics. For any time we're in the parks and we're posting stuff, or when we do live streams. I think we'll have to start talking about the next time. I think we're probably going to end up doing another live stream close to Halloween again. So we'll have to start thinking about that. Yeah. And if you want to help support the show, go to store.welcomehomepodcast.com and check out some of the different stuff we got in there, shirts and mugs and all that kind of stuff. Or if you would rather support us on Patreon, go to patreon.com/welcomehomepod and check out the different levels of support we have there. Patreon also gives you access to the Discord server, which is yet another way that we like talking with our fans. And there is also exclusive merch on Patreon. I will also mention that we've gotten more pencils back for the shirt design that we're doing, and it's coming together a lot. The vision is getting closer. And again, you know, we keep saying this. I think you guys will like this one. I think it'll be really cool. I can't wait to see the final product again. And I kind of had a moment the other day, Tom, where I was like, wow, we've made, like, we've actually done t-shirts, and we've done like, like we've had like comic book artists make t-shirts for us, which I never thought I would do.
It's not a thing that you thought that you would say that has ever happened. Yeah.
Yeah. Which, you know, is really cool. And
it is. It's very cool.
So, So I'm super excited when we can share that with you guys. So, you know, keep an eye out for that. We'll of course let you know when it's ready and all that, but, it's coming along. And, last but not least, if you guys want to, leave us a review or, give us 5 stars on Spotify or iTunes, we really appreciate that. Helps more people find the show. And I guess, Tom, is there any interesting iTunes
reviews of the week? Yeah. So I got 2.
Right.
We've got from Disney fan Matt on Apple Podcasts, an awesome DVC and Disney podcast, 5 stars. I've been listening for a while, and I really enjoy this podcast every Monday. Trevor, oh look, you get first billing here. Trevor, Tom, and Damon. That's good. Trevor, Tom, and Damon have great chemistry and all bring different experiences, preferences, and opinions to the discussion, which makes everything relatable and interesting. The other thing I really appreciate is the honesty. Unlike some other podcasts, they don't sugarcoat and avoid talking about negative things in the parks. There's just enough playful banter between the hosts so that it's not all business, which keeps things fun. Keep up the great work, guys. You are a great source of news and opinions on everything DVC, and I'm so glad I stumbled upon this podcast. Well, thank you, Disney fan Matt. We appreciate it.
Very nice. Yeah.
And this is very exciting. We have the legendary Bob Gurr reviewing us.
What?
Yeah. And Bob's really excellent podcast review is a 1-star lame show. I get the feeling it's not really Bob Gurr.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I was expecting you to say something really nice, but yeah, that's
no. I was, if this is really 90-year-old Bob Gurr finding us on Apple Podcasts, it really disappoints me, Bob, because I'm a big fan of your work, and it's really sad that you feel we have a lame show.
I feel from what I've seen with interviews of Bob Gurr, I don't think there's a mean bone in that man's body.
That's 100% true. Yeah.
He seems like the nicest guy. And yeah, I wish that he was somebody that I could meet someday, but
yeah. But yeah, thanks for the great feedback of 1-star lame show. That's really, really super helpful. We really we love that. I mean, listen, we've just been described as a lot of things. Lame is not really one of them, I feel like, but
that's fine.
Whatever.
You can think that all you want.
Yeah, except if it really is Bob Gurr, that would hurt my feelings. But I don't really care, fake Bob Gurr, because we know it's not really Bob Gurr. So anyway, yeah, exactly. So those are our reviews of the week. Big thank you to Disney fan Matt. No thank you to Bob Gurr. Go design a Matterhorn or something. Don't forget to subscribe to Welcome Home Podcast so you can be reminded every time we release a new episode. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify. Really any podcast app out there. Just search for Welcome Home. Look for, the one that's Disney and DVC. Forget about all the other Welcome Homes. That's not us. It's the one that's Disney. Just a reminder to our listeners, Welcome Home Podcast is for entertainment only. We are not employed by the Walt Disney Company, and as such, all opinions we express on the show are our own. So, please consult a DVC representative or Disney cast member for more information about anything we talk about today. Thank you to our sponsors. Big thank you to our sponsors, DVC Rental Store. So, Damon and I were just talking about this on Friday. He has a friend that was, I'm going to sell my contract. And he's like, why would you do that? Just rent out your points, get some value there, rent out those points and pay off your dues every year. So, check out DVC Rental Store. They can help you with it. They make the process super easy. Also, big thank you to Worlds of DVC for continuing to support the show and to sponsor us. We really appreciate them. So please check them out. Join us next time for more Disney Parks discussion. Of course, more DVC talk. We hope to see you all real soon.
This is Skipper Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, signing off from Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Do a huddle when we hit a chair. How she can cuddle is no man's affair. I looked around from pole to pole, found her in a sugar bowl.